Hey everyone, my name is Alexa if you are new to this channel and you have no idea who the freak I am. And that is Mocha barking and I apologize. So I'm here filming on my brand new camera, the Canon 5D Mark III. Well, it's not brand new, I bought it used, but to me it's brand new, so let me just... Oh my gosh. So it's a professional grade camera, so it doesn't have a screen that comes out, so I have no idea if this is in focus, really. So I'm just kind of trying to have my phone back here and like filming the back. It's like this really weird setup. And anyway, let's get into what I'm here to talk about today. And with my new camera, which I'm super excited about. So I started this YouTube channel about a year ago. And I made it to kind of combine my jewelry business, which I make rings out of silver, sterling silver, and my love of travel. And that was kind of just going to be my channel, and I didn't know where I was going with it, but I was just going to wing it. And that's pretty much what I did for a couple videos, and then the idea kind of fell through because I wasn't traveling, so it was like, I can't really show people what I'm doing because I'm not doing anything, you know? It kind of fell through for a ton of months, like a whole year after that, and then I started picking it back up this year, as I've been kind of thinking, like rethinking, and I was still doing jewelry, and I still love travel, and just rethinking what my channel can even be, so I started to get back into it, and then I started facing some issues though as I was getting back into it, and through my life things were different than what they were a year ago. And I was just going through a lot of freaking struggles, a lot of freaking problems, and I didn't know how to go about that because like that was my YouTube channel, that wasn't me. I'm a very happy, cheery person, and when you're making a YouTube channel, you have something in your head of what it's supposed to be. And then you have an idea that's totally separate about what your life is supposed to be. And my life was not going the way that I wanted it to go. So I was really struggling for a long time just with myself, and really has nothing to do with YouTube, but I still wanted to make YouTube videos and have fun and do something and put myself out there. I thought that was very important because I don't put myself out there. I mean, it doesn't come naturally, that's what I'm saying. I do, but it doesn't come naturally. It's something that I've had to work really hard to do, and I've had to overcome a lot of things to be able to do this. And it's really unnatural, but I'm doing it. Anyway, so I apologize about the dogs. So I just want to tell you my story about what I was going through in my life that hopefully maybe people can relate to, and kind of where I am now. And it has nothing to do with YouTube other than the fact that this is the way that I'm choosing to share my story with the world. And that's what it was in the beginning, to kind of try and share my story and help people with traveling, and then showing just my life with jewelry, and because I thought that was different and people wanted to see that. Anyway, so now my life is completely different. I still make jewelry, but things are so much more clear now, and instead of being lost and confused and depressed about life and where I'm going, which I guess kind of relates to YouTube, because that's how I felt about it too. Instead of feeling like that in my life, I now feel led. I'm led to do things now, and all I have to do is follow. I don't have to worry about what I'm doing anymore, what path to take anymore, what to talk about anymore. I don't have to worry about anything anymore like that. And because my life as a young adult, especially as a teenager going into a young adult, and and I haven't been a teenager for a couple years. I'm 21 at this time, but you know, you're trying to figure yourself out. You're trying to figure out, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Especially as a teenager, that's what I'm saying. And I don't have to worry about that anymore. So this is my story about how I came to find peace and feel like I don't have to worry about anything like that anymore, about what I'm doing with my life anymore. And peace and happiness, and fulfillment, like true fulfillment that I've never felt before and never thought that I could feel, because you start to feel like a failure kind of when you're going along in life and things aren't really working out, even though you're trying your hardest for them to work out, and you're just kind of guessing what will be best for me. And that's what I'm was doing, and I feel like a lot of people are doing that in life. So I just want to put my story out there. So let me just stop with all that and just start with my actual story. So I'm not sure where exactly I should start with my story. I'll just start with depression, okay? I'm gonna start with the fact that, so every year I get really down and I have seasonal affective disorder. That's what it's called. It's just when you get sad and down because the sun's not out, and that's what I have. But you know, I was expecting that because it's every year. But this year was different. This year was so bad. I actually did get actual depression. I mean, not saying sad isn't actual depression, because you do get into a depression. But I mean, this is the worst I think I've ever been in my life during the last months of, I think it was like November, December, January. Pretty much, yeah, the worst months, yeah. So I'm just gonna say my story. So in October, I got kicked out of my house extremely unexpectedly. I was not in a position to get my own place, and I thought it was extremely unfair what happened to me, you know, I thought. And looking back now, I see that I wasn't the greatest person. Kicked out unexpectedly and without any notice at all. So I lost all of my stuff, my whole life, my whole business just went downhill completely because of this. And I didn't have stuff anymore, and so I moved out of, you know, because I got kicked out, I moved out into my mom's house, and she had just gotten an apartment, but she didn't expect me to be getting kicked out. So I moved in with her, but she doesn't have another room, so I just had to sleep on the couch. And at the time, I was over there helping her because she just got foot surgery, so I was already over there, but this whole situation with my family was terrible, to say the least, and I ended up just that was just my place to stay, and I just wasn't in a position. I was in debt, and I had a part-time job, and I was going to school. I wasn't in a position to get a full-time job, to be able to pay rent somewhere. So that happened, and then this all happened, and my heart just broke. My heart broke completely. I'm very fortunate to have had a very great father figure in my life, my dad. And when something goes wrong with that, like, my dad was just, I mean, you don't expect your heart to get broken by your parents. You just don't. Even if it happens, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel right. You just want to be close especially if you've had a great relationship with each other. So that's what I was going through. I got kicked out and I had to sleep on a couch. And that was my life. There was just a lot of things that I was struggling with around this time as well. A lot of things. So that happened in October, but things weren't too bad. My whole life was shook upside down though, and I've never felt more unstable in my life. I mean, and I'm a person who likes instability when it comes to kind of in terms of like where am I gonna sleep tonight, and you know, but I like that when I'm traveling, like not because I'm forced into this situation, you know. I was separated from where I was making jewelry, so my business went extremely downhill. I didn't know how to deal with it. How do you deal with your whole life turning completely upside down? Nothing like that had happened to me before. So that was a big struggle for me, and a lot of things too just started popping up. Like, I felt like I was making just bad decisions, just decisions that I thought was okay and decisions that the world says are okay to make. But it kept leading me into stress and depression and just, oh man, in December, just you're supposed to be happy in December with your family and holidays, and the amount of stress that I was going through, and because of decisions that I'd make and because my business was basically booming at the time, but it was so stressful to get to where I needed to make jewelry that it was just a happy time. It should have been a happy time and it wasn't. It was just a very stressful time, and I kept making these decisions that the world says is okay to make. And I don't want to go too much in detail with that, but there's a lot of things that the world says is okay, but once you dive into that realm, it's kind of, you can get your heart broken so easy. Your emotions just ground up, and the stress is just so unnecessary. And I realized that I was basically living totally apart from God. And if you didn't know where this video was going, well, now you do, okay? I was realizing that the depression that I had was because I was trying to run my life the way that I thought was best. And I had all of these options on the table that were great options. I could be a model, or picking up photography. That was an option. And then there's other career options, and it's like, I can't remember what I was talking about. I think I was talking about just the fact that when you were young, you have all of these options in front of you, okay? So did I. And I didn't know, all of them felt like if I went down this path, each path, that I would be like, you know, good things would come from it. I might be successful at it, but and none of them felt more right than the others. So I was very like, what do I do? I was at a crossroads. It's a lot on you when you're young. Like, what do I do with my life? I have no idea. And some people know somehow, or some people, they just go along the way of college and then get a job, and then they just follow the line that they're supposed to follow. And so they kind of, they don't have to deal with sometimes as much stress as thinking about, like, what am I supposed to do with my life, because they just kind of go along that route. And that's still stressful, obviously, but I mean, I knew that school really isn't for me. I'm not like the best student. It's not that school is hard, it's just that it's just annoying to me. Just going to it is just annoying. And I knew that I wasn't really cut out for like sciencey stuff or medical stuff. That just wasn't me. I knew as I grew up and grew older that I wanted to do something that had to do with my creativity, my art, and then I made a business. So and once you get the taste of like being an entrepreneur and like working for yourself, it's kind of really hard to go back. So I knew that that was kind of the way that I was going. I wasn't really down for like the American dream kind of way. Like go to college forever and get a job so you can go to work forever. Like that's not me. But I still had other options. And that was still one of them. But it wasn't something that I wanted to do. But it was still one of them. And I had all these options. So what do? I don't know. I didn't know. So it was very, very, very stressful. And I was just in a depression of like, what do I do with my life? I don't know. And then all of these things that I was going through, just my heart being broken, it was terrible. And then finally, I just was having a breakdown, and I came over to my dad's house, and I mean, I just needed a place to go at that point. I didn't want to be alone. My health was pretty much declining, and I was just in a bad place, guys. And I finally sat down and talked to him and told him how I felt about what happened. And this was like months had gone by, and finally we were able to, I just felt like a lift came off of me once we talked about it. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just to talk about it with someone, and with the person that something bad happened with, just to find understanding and a middle ground, and just learning to understand and move on, learning to forgive each other. And once I reached that point of communication with him, I felt like things were going to be okay, that we were going to be okay, and that I could forgive him, and that this was just my life, and it's okay. There wasn't really any one moment where all of this kind of came together. It was just over time, through these months, that things started to come together. And it was, I had been praying for certain things in my life because I was just at such a horrible, horrible time, and I couldn't get out of it myself. I prayed, God help, just whatever will help. Just, I need help. I don't even know what with exactly, just I need help. I just need you. And over time, my prayers started getting, I actually started seeing the answers in such crazy ways. Like, God moves in like such, like, there's this saying, like, God works in mysterious ways. Like, if you open your eyes and if you genuinely want to know God, He's always there. I'll find a Bible verse that talks about this, where God is always there. Always. Just there waiting for you. All you have to do is knock on the door and open it, and everything will be revealed to you. You just have to... I'll also leave a link in the description that helped me a lot to understand things, is that some people, they wonder, you know, why hasn't God revealed Himself to me? And a lot of people ask this, but they aren't ready to fully give up their life yet. They think that they still want to control their life. They still, even though they don't have full control, it's just kind of an illusion. Like, you think you have control of your life, but then things happen to you and you don't have full control, and your heart gets broken over and over and over again, and people still don't see. Like, you don't know what's best for you, even if you know what's best for you. And I started to understand that. So if you go to God and just 100%, like, if you discover that, for me, the thought that changed my life was, how can I know more about what I'm supposed to be doing in my life than the one that made me? That's what came into my head, and it just kind of shook me. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just guessing. Of course, God, the one that made me, I was made for a specific purpose on this earth. Like, and the only way that I'll be able to be actually fully fulfilled, instead of going down this path or this path or this path, and I didn't know if that was right for me, just go down it. Instead of doing that and just finding out that I'd be lost in every which way, God showed me before I made any decision, which is great. I'm really thankful for that, because I could have gone down some way and found out that it was just terrible for me, and I thought it was the right way. I hope this is making sense. I feel like it's all up here. I was made for something. I was put on this earth for a reason. So I just kind of gave up my life. And let me tell you that I've been a Christian my whole life. Jesus has always made so much sense to me. A lot of people, when they grow up being Christian, they struggle with it, or they just kind of wonder. You have to find your faith on your own. You can't just blindly be led by your parents. And a lot of people do, but you can't. That doesn't work. I mean, faith is not genetically given to you, which a lot of parents don't understand. You need to find it on your own. You need to find out the truth on your own. So, Christianity has always made sense to me. Jesus has always been in my heart, but it wasn't until this, last February, where things really, really started to make sense to me. Because when I was, a couple years ago, I remember reading a Christian book, and it said that I needed to give my whole life up to the Lord so He can guide me with His will and show me what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. And it just had a prayer that I could pray to kind of give my life to God. I mean, my life isn't my life anyway, God made my life. He's the one, I'm His. I'm not myself. I don't belong to myself. I hope that makes sense, because I'm just a person. I didn't make me, I was put on this earth. I didn't have anything to do with that. So, I remember going through the motions, and I really, really struggled years ago with this prayer. And I remember I got the words out of it, but my heart was not in it. I felt like my life was going good at the time. I think I was in high school, and I was like, I don't want my life to change. I don't want God to change my life. I'm good. My life's good. I've got it. I like how things are right now. They're great, and I've got it. So I remember I said the words, I can't remember exactly what they were. Something about God, I'm fully yours. My life is yours. Lead me. And I remember I got those words out, but it was a really, really big struggle for me. And you can say whatever you want, but if your heart doesn't match what you're saying, God's gonna look at your heart, not what you're saying. It matters what your heart, what you feel like inside. So, back then, I didn't understand. And so God showed me through everything that I didn't have it. I tried to be in control, and I tried to go my own way, and I was lost. And even though all of the decisions that I thought I was making the best decisions that I could make for my life, and I was still heartbroken. All of the decisions, I was guessing, if they were right for me. Even if I felt like they were right for me, they ended up not being right for me. You know what I'm saying? God had to show me that I didn't have the answers, that I didn't have full control, that I couldn't have, that if you go your own way in life, you're gonna crash and burn, basically. I had to see that. I couldn't, some people, they fully, they get it right off the bat. For some people, they need to go through crappy things, and unfortunately in my life, I had to go through a lot of lessons learning the hard way. That's the only way sometimes for you to really get something through into your noggin, into your head. I realized, and I started looking too at other people who were going through things in their life, other people who are successful, because that's what I was trying to do. You're supposed to be successful in your life. And so I started looking at people who were successful, like celebrities. Who was more successful than celebrities? They have money, they have their dream job, they have fame, they have houses, they have the prettiest, most beautiful spouses and girlfriends and boyfriends and everything. And what are they except extremely, extremely depressed? I mean, you can't tell me that a lot of these people are not. Look at how many people are on drugs, alcoholics, get divorces, and they OD and all of these kinds of things. And society tells you this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be successful, and then you'll be happy, right? But the most successful people in this world are not happy or fulfilled. They're depressed, they're having a terrible time in life, and they have everything that society says you should have in order to be happy. That's what society tells you you need. You need more money to be happy. You need a huge house to be happy. You need that nice car to be happy. And I think God showed me these things. Because a lot of people are blind to that, They think that they're going to be happy with all these things, but then they don't see the examples in front of them. And these people are freaking depressed as crap. So I'm glad that I saw that and I realized that. And Jim Carrey himself said, I wish that everybody could get everything they ever dreamed, hoped, and dreamed for, just so they could see that it's not the answer. If that's not profound and crazy and just doesn't hit you, listen to that again. I'll put the quote up here. I knew that wasn't the way. I mean, my way wasn't the way. Going down these different paths wasn't the way, so there had to be another way than depression. And even though if I had everything, I would still be depressed. I knew there had to be another way because I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be fulfilled. I'm losing daylight here, and this is my light source. So I hope I'm getting really fired up, but basically that's just there's been so much truth. There's just kind of hit me. And prayers answered that hit me. The prayers that were answered were just things that happened that I was really struggling with, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to dig my way out of this hole myself. But with God, anything is possible. Because of what He has done in my life, things started to change, and it was incredible. It wasn't something that would have just happened without Him, because I knew the people that I was dealing with, and I saw that He was working on their hearts and changing their hearts. And He was working on my heart and changing my heart. And it had changed situations I don't know how to explain it without, I don't want to go too much in detail, but basically, my mind is blown. And if you go to Him with an open heart and an open mind, knock and the door will be open to you. That's the promise. I found Jesus in a way that I had never found Him before in my life. And years ago when my heart wasn't in it, when I thought that I got it, I thought I had my life under control, but I realized I really didn't, and I realized I wanted real, actual fulfillment in my life. Then I gave my life up completely. my camera died, and now it's nighttime. So now we're gonna work with my phone. But I hope it makes sense. I hope it really speaks to you, because this is my truth, and this is the truth that I'm speaking. So yeah, my life changed completely, and God started showing me things that I could not believe. When you start to walk with God, a lot of things start making sense. And you start to overcome struggles that you couldn't overcome before, because God says, He teaches to give it all up to Him, because He's the one who can solve these problems for you, not yourself. You need Him, and when you're struggling and you know you can't beat something, and you have anxiety, you have worry, just give it to Him. So, like I was saying, my life completely changed, and changed for the better. Like, it's been insane how much my life has changed. And I started watching videos on YouTube about people's testimonies, and that they had never known Jesus before, and they kept trying to fill it. You have a God-sized hole in your heart, and people try and fill that with anything that they can, with drugs, with alcohol, with money, with shopping, with relationships even. With all of these things, we try to find fulfillment in all of these things, but God made us to need Him. There's a place in our heart that's specifically made for God to be there. And I started watching these videos of people who had never known Christ. And I always have, but there's a difference between knowing who Jesus is and like it's a whole other thing when you fully give your life up to Jesus and fully become His follower, like an apostle of the Bible, like James, Paul, Luke, all of these people. It's a completely different story to be a Christian and go to church and be like, oh, okay, God stuff, doing God stuff, going to church, being good. It's a completely different story to give your whole life up to Him and completely trust your life over to Him instead of relying just on yourself. It'll change your life. And that's what Jesus wants from us. He wants, and people don't even realize, people who are Christians, sometimes especially Christians, are so judgmental, they don't even know who Jesus was. If you get to know who Jesus was, you're going to be blown away. Like, a lot of religious people, the religious people in the Bible, the Pharisees, the Jewish leaders, Jesus was calling them vipers, and He was calling them out, and they couldn't believe it because, who is this telling us that we're not good enough because we are the most religious people here? That's not the point. The point is not to be the most religious person that you can be. The point is not to be religious. The point is to know Jesus. The point is to have a relationship. And it's changed my life completely. Completely. And, maybe I'll make more videos about this because I'm on this incredible journey. And like I was saying before, now I feel led instead of worrying about my future. I'm now a part of the media ministry team at my church. And there's so many cool opportunities that's led me to, and I feel very, very led to be a photographer and know as much as I can about videography, photography, and I felt really called to that. And when you're called to something, don't ignore that, because that's God calling you to do that. And I feel so fulfilled that I'm doing what I can with the knowledge that I have. The amount of happiness and closeness that I feel with God is amazing. I remember watching testimony videos and these people who had never known Christ before, and then they accepted Him and gave their life fully over to Him. they could feel him in your heart. And that was incredible for me to hear, because I had always in my life felt him in my heart. And you do. And so I've never really known what it was like to not know Jesus. But now I know what it's like to know him more. I was blocking my own spirituality. I was sabotaging myself. So it's really incredible, because you can feel, in the Bible it's called the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit comes into your heart, and Jesus is there, and you could feel that. So that's why it's, when people say they're born again Christians, they're not kidding. They are actually different and transformed people. They're not themselves. They're not just themselves. They're empty shell selves. They're not just Jim. They're not just Alexa, whoever. They're new. They're made new into a new creation, and God resides in them now. And so you can't possibly be the same person that you were. And so I'm so convicted now on it's harder to make bad mistakes now, because I'm so convicted, because the Holy Spirit is telling me and convicts me when I'm making a mistake, when I sin, and I can't. It just tears me apart. And that's the thing, is what sin is it separates you from God. And through accepting what Jesus has done for us on the cross, he died, so he covers all sin. All we have to do is accept what he's done for us, and bring him into our heart, and love one another too. That's the whole commandments in one. But all we have to do is accept what he has done, and then we are washed free of our sins, and we ask for forgiveness. And you can feel the closeness. I remember watching these testimonies of people that they said their lives were changed completely, and I was getting kind of jealous of that. Like, oh, I want to feel that joy, I want to feel that fulfillment. And then I remembered, I thought, it's not God not being close, him not being close to me, it's me. You're the one who determines how close you want to be with God. Because he's always right there, waiting for you. And all you have to do is accept him and trust him. And oh man, there's so much to talk about, so much. So even though I knew who Jesus was growing up in my life, and I had gone to church growing up, I still didn't really know how to be a follower of Jesus, and I'm still kind of figuring that out. Even though I've known who he was my whole life, until you fully give your life up, that's when your life really starts to change. And every single day, my faith and my walk with God becomes more mature. And there's going to be a lot of roadblocks to you becoming a more mature in your faith, and not just a baby Christian. I feel like I am, but every single day I'm understanding more, and it's a journey, and it's the best journey of my freaking life, okay? So, man, I'm free. I'm free. I don't even know how else to say it. Like, all I have to do is follow. He is my shepherd. And the amount of happiness and just knowing that I'm on the path that God wants me to be on, for me to become the person that he wants me to be. And it's not gonna be easy. God never said it's gonna be easy. In fact, he a lot of times said it's, once you follow me, things might become even harder than you, because they persecuted me. Blessed are those who are persecuted because they persecuted him. So things aren't gonna be easy all the time. There's a lot of things, lessons and hardships. So God's not making bad things happen to you. And God only allows bad things to happen that are going to make you a better person in the end, and make you who you're supposed to be in the end. And a lot of hardships, the Bible says that hardships make you stronger, more resilient. I mean, I understand my journey isn't going to be super easy, but this is the journey that I know I'm supposed to be on. And the one that's going to bring me crazy fulfillment. I mean, there's a lot of things I still want to do in my life, but now they're changed to, my dreams have changed, or a lot of them are the same, to serve him in a way that I was made a certain way. Everybody's made differently, and I want to serve him in the way that I was made, and exercise all of the strengths that I was given, all the talents that I was given for him. Basically, I just wanted to lay all of this down on the table because I felt really convicted, like, I need to say this. I need to put this out there about where I am, who I am, how my life has changed, because I was really freaking struggling, but I've been brought out of that depression. My life wasn't going anywhere and sucked. I was brought out of my depression, and just the amount of joy and just happiness and just realizing I was on the right path. I'm on the right path, and it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. I know that. And I was really convicted that I had to make this video before I made any other video. And YouTube is still definitely something that I want to pursue and share my life, share the things that I learn, because I'm not about to just go through my life and not share the things that I'm learning. Because a lot of people, you know things that other people don't know that would be helpful for them to know to get through life. And I feel that I'm being called to kind of be a teacher in a way. There's a lot of things that I want to tell people, even about, random stuff like travel, how to travel. I love traveling, and that's just another way that I want to serve God and be future as well, by going on a mission somewhere or helping some people, because I'm just so blessed. I'm healthy. I'm in a situation where I can make money a lot. If I really put all my time and effort into it, I can make money, and I can travel, and I'm able, and there's just so many great things, and a lot of people take all these things for granted, and I just want to use everything that I was given, because I was given all these things for a reason. And that's to share it with other people and to help other people. The point of life is not yourself, and it's not serving yourself. The point of life is to help other people. And if you help other people, you'll notice that once you start focusing on other people's happiness, the happiness, it'll just come to you just easily. You don't even have to try. And of course, take care of yourself too, but there's a reason for that. I know I'm young, and there's a lot of things about life I don't know about yet, but I at least know that it's not all about me, and it's not all about you. And society makes you kind of think about, society definitely makes you think, screw everyone else, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing me, just in a self-serving way. Society wants you to be just totally, completely self-serving, and that's not the answer. So, it's put on this earth for a reason, and I felt really convicted to make this video, to share the truth out with the world, and because my life and my future videos are going to be changed because of everything that I've gone through spiritually. So I needed to bring this out into the surface so people who are going to see my videos are going to be like, what? They're going to be so confused. So I wanted this like a reference video. So yes, thank you so much for watching. I love you. Have a good day.